Hey guys, Logan here. Today we got another episode of the podcast Inside Battlefield, where DICE developers sit down and talk about the game. And today's episode is all about the narrative, and especially DICE answering the community's questions about the narrative. And we got some interesting answers to some questions, so let's check it out. Okay, so the question was, is the Battlefield 4 Final Stand DLC canon? And we got a cryptic answer, of course, because they don't want to give away too much, but here is the answer we got.
Is the Battlefield 4 Final Stand DLC canon?
That is a good question, Joe.
Just immediately drop it up.
I am of the opinion that, to a certain extent, everything is canon, except for the things that aren't. And what I will say on this particular subject is there is certainly something in Season 5 that points to Final Stand essentially possibly being canon. But that's not to say we can say when Final Stand takes place.
Okay, so there is something in Battlefield 2042's Season 5 that has to do with the Final Stand DLC being canon. I wonder what it can be, because I don't think we have found it yet, and the last comment he said, we don't really know when the Final Stand DLC takes place. Perhaps Final Stand takes place during the same time as BF2042? I don't know, but keep in mind the Battlefield 2042 is more or less a sequel to Battlefield 4's story. For those of you that have not played Battlefield 4 and especially the Final Stand DLC, it was the 5th expansion pack for Battlefield 4, being a sci-fi themed expansion featuring futuristic maps and high-tech equipment, with many references to another game, Battlefield 2142. In the Final Stand DLC we got a map called Hangar 21, which featured a huge helicarrier, or Titan as they're known in the game and in the future game BF2042. And we also got the first railgun in Final Stand, the Rorsch Mark 1, that inspired the Rorsch Mark 4 that we got in BF2042 right now. The question still remains, what can we find in BF2042 that might suggest that the Battlefield 4 Final Stand DLC actually happened? A huge Titan helicarrier on the horizon maybe? Or just a small toy reminding us of the armored walker that's been built in another hangar in one of the Final Stand maps? I don't know, but I will absolutely get in there and search for this, and I'd suggest you do that too. It might just be as simple as, graffiti somewhere on the reclaimed map, some art on some wall. I hope you found it soon, I wanna know. Of course there were many more questions during the podcast, but another interesting one was this. Will we see more cameos of characters from previous games in the franchise? And we got the no comment as an answer. So yeah, I take that like a yes, and I think we'll see some more cameos and references to other characters in previous games, So, there you have some interesting things we got from today's episode of the podcast Inside Battlefield. I highly recommend you go listen to this podcast, it's really good. As usual, I would love to hear what you think about all of this. The Final Stand DLC, did you play it? Tell me in the comment section down below. And have you found anything in Battlefield 2042 that might suggest that the Final Stand DLC was canon? Tell me in the comments as well. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and you won't miss any Battlefield news, and hit that like if you enjoyed the video. I really much appreciate that. I hope to see you in my next one. This is Logan, signing out.